Hello, this is my video journal for week 2, and it's on accounting data generation. So the concept that I chose to talk about this week is cash basis accounting versus accrual basis accounting. I chose this subject because I think it is important for everyone to understand that there are different ways of keeping records. Whether you're looking for a job or even trying to start a business, it is important for you to understand the type of accounting system that you may be working with and what the differences are between them. Knowledge is power. So for the cash basis accounting, we see that cash basis accounting means accounting methods that records revenues only when cash is received and expenses only when cash is paid. In other words, if a payment is received from a customer, it is recorded as revenue. On the other hand, if you have to pay a utility bill, then the actual transaction is recorded as an expense. Each transaction is recorded at the time it occurs. The cash method is an easier accounting method to follow because it generally requires less knowledge of accounting concepts and principles. Accrual basis accounting are accounting methods that record revenues when earned and when expenses are incurred. This means that the effect of each transaction is recorded as it occurs. Most businesses use this type of method, and this method is approved by the GAAP. Under the accrual basis accounting, it is irrelevant when cash is received or paid. So how do we choose? Let's take a look back at why people choose one over the other. We've seen that cash basis accounting requires less knowledge of accounting procedures. Therefore, it's easier to use, basically. Cash basis accounting does a great job of tracking a business's cash flow. At any given time, they can look at their records and see exactly how much cash on hand that they have. Cash basis accounting, however, is not allowed under the GAAP. Accrual basis accounting requires a depth and knowledge of accounting methods and practices. So it requires more knowledge of different financial statements, how to understand whether a revenue is now or for the future, how to balance out a prepaid rental expense or a prepaid service. And so it requires more in-depth knowledge of accounting. Accrual basis accounting also provides a better picture of a business's revenue and expenses. It gives the company a better idea over a long period of time to make sure that they're actually profiting throughout their business. If it costs them more to provide a service and they can see this over a time span, then they can make the changes that would be necessary in order to operate with a profit. Also, accrual basis accounting is allowed under the GAAP. So, after reflecting on both accounting methods, we still have ethical issues here to deal with. As we read in this week's lesson, major corporations were hiding money and nobody caught it for a long time because they had the information on their statements were just matching up. So as we read in this week's lesson, our financial statements and ledgers are only as true as the information we put inside them. If you use a cash basis accounting method, you can reduce the amount of money that you are actually receiving and make your business look like you have a loss. Many people do this to prevent paying higher taxes. However, this kind of hurts them on the other end because when they go to look at their books to see where they should cut back or how they can increase their profit, they're not really going to have an idea or a truthful idea of how to manage their money and their expenses. Even on the other hand, if you use the accrual basis accounting method, you can manipulate the numbers there to look as if you are expecting a huge profit margin, which would increase the value of your stock to stockholders and shareholders. But when used properly and honestly, these systems are truly meant to give you the knowledge about how well your business is doing and if you're operating on a profit. Both methods are basically there to show you how much you're paying out to whom you're paying, what are your expenses, what does it cost to actually provide your service, and what can you do to make more of a profit. But as the Bible says, pay to all what is owed to them, taxes to who taxes are owed, revenue to whom revenue is owed. And we find that in Romans 13:7. The references I used were our accounting books, The Fundamentals of Corporate Finance.